Hi, my name's Brandyn Rice, and I work for the Department of Human Services Child Welfare here in Eugene, Oregon, Lane County specifically. I do our retention and recruitment of foster homes. And so my job is to support the foster parents that we have and make efforts to help recruit more and do a lot of community interaction and support when it comes to our foster families here locally. As you are entering into this world of volunteering, I have one challenge before we start. I just want to take a step back and give you a challenge to think about the biases that you have. Take a minute, think about whatever you have this preconceived notion or what you know or what you've experienced about the word foster care, about foster kids, about people in the foster system. And whatever you have and whatever you know, my challenge for you moving forward is to set that aside, is to remove that bias because we really want you to come in with an open mind and an open heart in the different ways that you're going to be volunteering. People that have their children in the foster care system and children in the foster care system have been through many different life experiences. The key to remember is they are still kids and they are still humans and they are still people. They have made choices in life that have led them to a place where their kids have been removed from their care. These kids have experienced things that many kids haven't ever experienced, some neglect, some trauma, and ultimately just really taking a step aside and removing whatever preconceived notions we might have about what those people are like, because there's some great kids out there, some great families that we work with, and we want to always remember that moving forward. Kids come into foster care for a variety of different reasons, and it's important to understand what some of those are. Kids are removed for the parent's substance abuse. They can be removed for neglect, a family home situation that is below standards and unsafe, domestic violence between partners or family members that kids have experienced, medical neglect, emotional neglect, physical abuse. There's a lot of different reasons why these calls come in, and the Department of Human Services makes efforts to work with these families and sometimes has to remove the children. Our ultimate first and foremost is that we have to decide as an agency and as a team, it's never a one person decision, is are these kids unsafe? And if they have been removed from a family of origin, it is because there is a safety issue. And like I mentioned, just there was a variety of different safety issues that we look at that might lead to a child being removed. And so when a child's removed, they're then placed into a foster home. We first and foremost always try to place a child with someone who they know. It could be a relative, a school teacher, a neighbor, a family friend, someone who has a relationship with this child that we might be able to certify as a foster home for them to go, instead of having to go to a general foster home and someone that they may not know. So as you're working with different families, foster families particularly, you might be working with a relative, an aunt, uncle, grandparent, cousin who's caring for a relative, or someone that they have a relationship with. Or you might be working with a certified foster family that has a variety of different children in their home. There's a lot of different demographics and makeups of foster homes, and we welcome all of those. But there's a wide range of families that you might encounter. And it's important to remember that these kids, they, like I said, that they are just kids and they've been through trauma. And so when you're interacting with them, remembering those things and being sensitive and supportive of their behaviors or their reactions to things, and they may react very differently than other children that you've interacted with, but a lot of that, let's remember, it might stem from some trauma that they've experienced somewhere in their life. So as you're moving into volunteering, I want to just give you a couple of nuts and bolts and things to remember as far as working with children that are in our foster care system, particularly. One of the things that's really important is that we are not posting any photos on social media. It is really important for us to maintain these kids' confidentiality. So if you are at an event or if you're working with a particular child, no photos and no photos posted in any any realm of social media. It is really important to our families that we keep that confidentiality really, really tight and secure for them. If you're in a situation and a kid's sharing something and there's some information shared that is confidential, that is obviously something that is not shared in any other capacity. If you ever have questions, you can go to the Every Child staff or Every Child volunteer coordinator, somebody who's there to kind of bounce some things if you have any questions. But remembering the confidentiality, not posting any photos on social media, and anything that if the agency ever does post a photo, we have to have the caseworker's permission. We don't post their face. There's a process. We have to get approval to even have, like the back of a child's head, even in a news article or something of that sort. So we ask that you not take photos and not do any of that. Even if you're volunteering an event, being, you have to be really cautious with what you are posting on your own social media page to protect the confidentiality of those kids. So there's that. When you are working with these kids and families too, I would always say err on the side of caution. An example would be if you're at an event and a child comes to you that you are interacting and working with and says, I need to use the restroom. It's always best to take another staff member or be cautious in what that looks like. It is better for you to take someone along with you, wait outside the restroom, make sure the child is able to do what they need to, but also just kind of being protective in those capacities for yourself and the child, that you're not doing anything alone in that realm, because sometimes we don't know, and sometimes, you aren't going to know the child's history and family situation and origin of whatever has happened in their life. So remembering to err on the side of caution and be sensitive to that would be really important. And also just really vital is that if you have any questions, the Every Child staff, they are aware of the process and procedures. And so feel free to ask them. And another piece that's important to remember when volunteering with kids is that sometimes those things that we do naturally with other children, we might be someone who's a hugger or often likes to pat on the back or shoulder, and remembering that these kids might have been through some situations that triggers something for them. And so being respectful of those boundaries around any sort of physical touch or hugging and that sorts. Things like fist bumps and high fives, those are great, and always seeing where the kid is at in response to that. But wanting to remind you as volunteers that sometimes those natural physical touch things that we do with kids might be something that could be more of a negative effect than we might know. We appreciate you. We thank you, and just want to make sure you remember those few things when you're working with kids, and hope you have a great day.